It's fantastic to have your company on this week's edition of Hong Kong Direct. We're really privileged to have John Moore still with us in the studio. A lot to look forward to about Sunday, but let's look back at last weekend, a special day for the Magic Man, Joe Moreira. 5 on the day and 900 in total here in Hong Kong.
Tycoon ahead, Picken, Super Rich a clear third, 2-horse War here, Picken's ahead in front of Tycoon, then Super Rich, Picken in front, Tycoon gigging, they hit the line, Picken more, Tycoon at a lunge. What a battle, and that's 900 wins for Joe Moreira, and he's had to earn every cent to get to that 900 quote. He's a happy man, and rightly so.
There was so many, it's very hard to pick one, but if I have to mention about couples, I would point two. When I won the International Mile with Able Friend, that win was a very, very important win for me, as I wasn't here for too long, and I was able to achieve such a big thing with that horse that has got a place in my heart.
Now Able Friend with the last shot at them, and Big Red is starting to lengthen. All 1,300 pounds of him, and away he goes. Able Friend from last has put play to them quickly. Able Friend bolts up for Joe Moreira.
And no doubts that I'm going to mention about Rapid Dragon winning the Triple Crown. When he won the dad with me, it was such a touching moment, which I could not see that coming when I first decided to come over to Hong Kong.
Rapid Dragon, Pakistan Star's eating up the ground. Rapid Dragon in front from Pakistan Star. The puzzle now complete. Rapid Dragon takes the derby.
It's not a one-person game. It's not one person that is able to make it. Without the great support I have had so far, I would never be able to make it, you know, and I'm just so pleased.
John, you and Joe, as we've just seen there, have shared some special times together with Able Friend, Rapid Dragon, even in Dubai with Sterling City.
Yes.
Can you just give us a bit of an insight into your working relationship, the pair of you together?
Well, Joe's very professional in the sense that he knows when horses are coming into form. He picks up on that very, very quickly, and he's on the phone very, very quickly. And with respect to Able Friend, of course, when he arrived in Hong Kong, he was still, I think, a Class 3 horse. He'd just won in the provincials or whatever. But as time went on, Joe caught a glimpse of him, and of course, that's the whole story. He ended up a world champion miler. With respect to Sterling City, when he won in Dubai, I wasn't so sure that the horse would handle the tapeta, or tapeta, or they call it. That's a sort of a polyester come sandy, oily
synthetic
base.
sort of surface they use, yeah.
And wasn't that sure, but he floated over it. It was like a mattress, actually, when I did walk it. And he won, and that was a great day for the Moore stable and Gary Ling and family. And then we move on to Rapid Dragon. Now, everybody knows when Rapid Dragon arrived in Hong Kong, he was a rogue. He hated trialling on the all-weather. His trials at Happy Valley were very, very poor. So no doubt Joe didn't pick up on that whatsoever. I was actually really worried that George and I might have bought another rather feisty, wayward individual. But as time went on, and I got one riding boy on him all the time. We worked on him, get him to settle into the stable, the Hong Kong way of life. Things turned around. And all of a sudden, we could see some light at the end of the tunnel. And as time went on, 1 or 2 runs, Joe again picked up on it. And he said, let me ride him, and let's see. And that's the story again. He went right through and won the Triple Crown Series, you know, for 4-year-olds.
Joe's achieved some fantastic things here in Hong Kong, broken plenty of records. You've been involved in racing here since 1971, since the start of the professional era. Seen some great jockeys here in that time. If I was to put you on the spot and say who's the best you've seen in that time, John, right here in Hong
I've seen
Kong?
Lester Piggott ride, you know, and the great Lester Piggott. I've seen Yves St. Martin. I've seen Even my father did a bit of track work here too. I can't leave out my father.
One of the greatest jockeys of all time, if not the greatest Australian jockey of all time.
Dad was able to go to America in '49, did 6 months there, won races there, right from Tijuana up to Hollywood Park and everything. And then Dad in '59, as we all know, moved over to ride for the Ali Khan, the Aga Khan's father, for 2 years. And then in '67, he was invited over by Sir Noel Merlis to ride for Jim Joel. So, yeah, Dad had a fabulous life and was able to win all the big races in the respective countries that he rode in. But with respect to jockeys, you'd have to go back and say, of course, Lester Piggott. And then from then on, I saw the likes of Edery ride here, the likes of Bill Hardtack on the Kentucky Derby. I think he had a lot to do, may have had something to do with Northern Dancer and everything. And then you move on to the new boys on the block, if we're going to go ahead really quickly. And then we have Zach Purton, coming to Hong Kong as a leading jockey in one respective state in Australia, but still had to improve his skills, which now he's a world-class jockey. And then we come to Joe. Joe had already been touted as an up-and-coming star in Singapore. When he arrived in Singapore, I understand he didn't even speak English, just Portuguese. But people were ringing me to say, you've got to get this, Joe Moreira to Hong Kong. And he did come. And he's really made Hong Kong his home. And right at this time, I would have to say that I'd like to put them on the same level. Joe and Zach are two superstar jockeys, and we're lucky to have them here in Hong Kong.
We are indeed, and they're both going to be riding the two main chances in the Group 2 Chairman's Trophy. Beauty Generation is John Moore's banner horse, lining up with Zach Purton on board. He won the race last year. His main danger, though, and a horse who's beaten him at his last 4 starts, is Waikuku. Carrying Star has been the tactical fly in Beauty Generation's ointment this season. Southern Legends back from a break. Furore, the Derby winner from last year, is having his first start for Tony Cruz, and Fat Turtle, Flying Thunder for Frankie Law, round out the field. He's been a wonderful horse, Beauty Generation. John, if he wins on Sunday, he goes past $100 million in prize earnings here in Hong Kong, which is unprecedented, really. You said after he's winning the Queen's Silver Jubilee Cup, you'd changed a few things with his prep. What's his prep been like this time?
You've got to remember that he's getting long in the tooth, and the same routine day in, day out, and the fact that he wasn't winning his races just told me that we had to change a few things, change his workload, change where he does his work, where he does, his gallops and so forth, what we do in the stable with him, the pool work, the machine work. Romain and myself, the riding boy, French riding boy who rides him every morning, with his feedback and what was available in Hong Kong track-wise and everything, we tweaked a few things. Also, we took his blinkers off. We put the bit lifter, the cheek and cheek pieces on, just to give him more sight, probably get him a little bit more energy into him, so forth, and that we did, and we managed to pull it off, as you said, in the Jubilee race, and that told me that what we were doing was working.
I spoke to John Size this morning, who of course trains Waikuku. Waikuku has perhaps this season had the better of Beauty Generation on a number of occasions. I said, is Waikuku now the best miler in Hong Kong? And he said no. Beauty Generation still is. Do you believe that as well?
Well, that was very nice of him to say that. I'll have to thank John for that comment. When Beauty Generation was at his best, I thought he was unbeatable. But as I said earlier, he was getting longer in the tooth. And I know from the champions that I've had in Hong Kong in the past, there's going to be the day when they're going to get beaten. And when they get beaten a few times, that's when you should be retiring them.
So would this be Beauty Generation's last season?
Well, I don't. The Kwok family are going to make those decisions. I would like to think it would be his last season, but the Kwok family may wish to continue with him one more season. He is very sound. You can see nothing in veterinary records on the Jockey Club website. He's a sound horse. He is seriously feisty. He is very difficult to look after, but we seem to have that down pat now. So it's all up to the Kwok family what they do with my departure.
And speaking of your departure then, John, you've had a wonderful career here for basically 40 years in Hong Kong racing, training since 1985. This is your last season though. What happens beyond the middle of July when the Hong Kong racing season comes to an end?
Okay, well, I've said to a lot of people that I don't wish to stop. I'm still healthy, keen, driven. I'd like to continue to train horses. I gave it great thought with my wife, of course, and the family as to where might be the right place to continue training. And it looks at this time being very much governed by the coronavirus, you know, with respect to movements, where and whatever, when we can get started and everything. But it's definitely looking like Rosehill in Sydney, beside Gary there. Hopefully it's beside Gary. On race day, he can tend to get a little overawed with everything, but it's
we'll
good
see some of the
having her around.
celebrations from Gary on race day.
We sure have. It looks, you know, once we can get set up, when the coronavirus, in particular in Australia, tends to peter out, we can get set up in Sydney. The stable would be made up of nearly all Hong Kong owners. For the beginning, it would be on the, I would have to categorise it more as a boutique stable. But as I said, I'm enthusiastic. I haven't won a Group 1 in Australia yet. I believe with the support of the Hong Kong owners that are willing to give me, that I'm buying yearlings for right at this time, that with their support, I think that if I can find the right horse, which I have in the past, 2 world champions, right here, representing Hong Kong on the big stage, and able to get the job done. I'm of the opinion that we can do that in Australia. We can, with the help of the new team that we're going to set up in Australia, that we can win the Group 1 that I so dearly want.
It's an exciting time for more racing then.
It definitely is. We're not finished yet.
Well, John, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show here today. Here's what's coming up in Hong Kong racing over the next week. A super day coming up on Sunday. Make sure you tune into the Trackside Live coverage. Our first race is at 12:45. The Chairman's Trophy with Beauty Generation is the first of the features. Then John will saddle up Aethero and Thanks Forever in the Sprint Cup. We return to Happy Valley on Wednesday night and then finish up next week with racing back at Sha Tin on Sunday afternoon. That's it for this week's edition of Hong Kong Direct. It's been a pleasure to have your company. John, just as we finish things up, of course, Beauty Generation in the Chairman's Trophy is trying to win it back-to-back. The only other horse to do it is Able Friend. You said Beauty Generation was unbeatable at his best. Was Able Friend unbeatable at his best as well?
He was. He definitely was. You know, Able Friend could come from anywhere in the field, where Beauty Generation tends to be, you know, likes to be on the speed all the time, where Able Friend Joe, from poor gates, would take him back. And the finish was just so exciting. It made the heart go race, you know, it made my heart race just watching him come by. Very good horses and win facile. It really, that was a very special time in my training career.
Okay, well, let's look back then at one of his memorable moments, Able Friend. This is him winning the 2015 Chairman's Trophy. We hope to see you at Sha Tin on Sunday.
As they're about to negotiate the turn down the 800, they have slowed the tempo. Glorious Days is back third last from Rainbow Chic, and Rewarding Hero last of all, only 6 lengths from the pace now. Coming up to the corner, and Beauty Flame shows the way. 3 parts to Secret Sham, Dan Excel. Able Friend Morera hasn't moved a muscle at this stage. He's poised to strike, then Real Specialist, followed by Glorious Days, Rainbow Chic and Rewarding Hero. Business End coming up now in the Chairman's Trophy, and they wheel for home, and Beauty Flame with Secret Sham together. Now Morera starting to release the brakes on Able Friend. Glorious Days and Rewarding Hero running on, but that trademark acceleration from Able Friend goes to the lead. Beauty Flame giving him a fight. Rewarding Hero running on. It's Able Friend in front, a half, 3/4. Rewarding Hero's coming late. Able Friend, he oozes class, and the champion will get it done. Able Friend from Beauty Flame and Rewarding Hero.